Hey guys. Hello, can you hear me? Okay. So thank you all for coming. My name is Mnet. I'm a junior at Boston Latin School, and I'm involved in several leadership-oriented activities, such as founding the Stop Tuberculosis Youth Initiative at my school, which is a student-led club where we raise awareness and money to send basic medical supplies to hospitals in developing nations that are fighting tuberculosis. Some other things that I really love to do are being a part of the youth board member for Community Call, being part of the Model United Nations Club, and the BLS fencing team.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So my name is Fiona. I'm a senior at Boston Latin Academy, #1 enemy to BLS. Just kidding. So I do an assortment of things. I am also on the board of Community Call. I am the president of Model UN at my school. I also am the secretary for the Feminist Club at my school, a student leader at the Coalition Against Apathy, as well as, what else? Oh, I'm the head of finance for Multicultural Night. So yeah, that's just some of the things I do. So what do we do? So today we're going to be talking about a specific initiative that Mnet and I work on together called Youth Woke. So first, Mnet and I are on the board of Community Call, but we didn't start off that way. At first, we started off with no job. We were pretty broke. And we also had no experience in marketing, no experience in networking. But what we did have is we had a bunch of passion, and we had a bunch of commitment to follow through on what we wanted and promised each other that we'd do. Yeah.
So before we continue, let me tell you a little bit about what Community Call is. Community Call is a nonprofit dedicated to empowering students to make a difference in their communities. So at the beginning, Fiona and I were given the task to modify the current Community Call program, which at the time was an open-ended program where students could come together and discuss any issue that they felt was prevalent in their community. And our job was to specify this to the emerging needs of Boston youth.
So we received that project, and we were supposed to work individually. But after giving each other feedback and we talked about it, we decided that the best thing to do was to merge programs, because we were both really inspired by certain movements in our communities, such as Black at BLS and the Black Lives Matter movement, and we decided to create Youth Woke.
Yeah, so our program, WOKE, stands for Working on Knowledge and Equality. So when you think of woke, like that might be odd, like you might be thinking of this type of woke. Yeah, we love corny stuff like this. But we're actually talking about this woke, which means to be aware and know what's going on in your community. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. What we do for the past year is to gather students that go to Boston Public Schools, and we meet once a week at the BPS headquarters in Dudley, and we have discussions regarding race relations, issues that people feel are prevalent in their communities, and really host workshops on those issues. But we don't just have a rant sesh. What we do is we want to make an impact on our community. And we do this by spending months to develop an action plan. And that action plan could be a workshop or a website on spoken word to a fair on prejudice. It's really up to the students.
Yeah. So what we learned throughout this process is, so there's a lot of negativity in this world, and being young doesn't really help that much. And there's a lot of stigma against youth. You know, we're just thought as people who are always on their phones, you know, pretty lazy. And as much as I do love Netflix, as much as the next girl, I really do love engaging with my community and participating in politics and all of that. And so I would say people doubt us, and most of us, because we can't even vote, right? But we have a bunch of opportunities available to youth, and empower yourselves and believe in yourself. That's like one of the most important things, and confidence is key. Another point I want to make is that one of the most important things that you can do for yourself is to learn how to network. Networking is one of the most important things that you can do, especially as an entrepreneur or any type of advocate in your community. And after this session and presentations, go up to someone you don't know. You have no idea who they know, and they have no idea who you know, and this could create a connection that could help you in the long run. And there are so many opportunities, and it's pretty much endless once you meet new people.
Another thing that we realized from this process is that rejection is part of the deal. And I'm sure everyone here has faced it, and it really doesn't go away. Even when Fiona and I thought that we had every part of our presentation down, we still found venues telling us that we might bring the wrong crowd of people. And we found ourselves in a situation where we were getting no work done, just waiting and waiting for an approval that would never happen. So instead, what we did was we made a plan and we executed it. We planned on reaching out to more places. And by doing this and continuing to market to new places really productively, we were able to get an even better offer.
Yes. So certainly certainly last but not least, we want to tell you a little secret that will help you through marketing and planning whatever you want to initiate in your community. And so it is called the 5 W's, and it's pretty simple.
So when pitching your idea to anyone, you first want to think about who. Who are you? Who are you talking to? Who do you want to come to your program or event or whatever you're doing?
Next, you want to think about why. Why are we even here? Why are we listening to you guys? Why are we speaking?
Then there's what. What am I doing here? What's going to happen?
Then where? Where are you going to host this? Where should we plan this?
And last but not when. When is it going to happen?
Yeah. And so we want you to take away from this is that you have power and you have the choice to empower yourselves. And so a question you want to leave this presentation or hearing this presentation is, what legacy can you leave your community to make it better and stronger?
Yeah, and also I forgot to mention this, but also have when you're pitching your idea, have swag and confidence. And people will be that much more impressed with you. So thank you for listening to us.
All right. Okay. Hey everyone, my name is Patrick Huey, and I'm so excited to be speaking to you today. First of all, how is everyone? Great. Today, I'm going to be talking about Metro Hacks. Metro Hacks is the largest high school hackathon in the Northeast. Last year, we brought over 200 participants to Microsoft headquarters in Cambridge for a 24-hour event. We had speakers like the Dean of the Graduate School of Education at Harvard, and we brought major CTOs from the technology industry from across the country, like Google and Amazon. Now, of course, I didn't do this alone. I had a great team of 8 individuals last year, and I think you can sort of imagine running an event like this was a lot of hard work. When we sat down for our first meeting, we stared at each other for about a solid 5 minutes, and there was just dead silence. That awkward, right? And we really looked at each other and said, well, what do we do? We've never done this before. So we started to talk about our vision. And in the future, when you guys are looking at building your own initiatives and your own events, having a central vision is extremely important. For Metro Hacks, our vision was that of inclusivity. A lot of hackathons have a high barrier to entry. First off, what is a hackathon? Well, a hackathon is an event where from 12 to 36 hours, people get together and through coding and through hardware, they solve problems and they create. From our own experiences in hackathons, we realized that that barrier to entry was really high. And for us, as high school students, we wanted to create an event that was by high schoolers for high schoolers. So what that meant for Metro Hacks was, even if you hadn't coded a single line in your whole entire life, you had a home at Metro Hacks. Right? It's great to have a vision, but what do you do after that? Right? You need to convince people of your vision. So we sat down and we really got to the grind. We contacted everybody that we thought would be interested in partnering with us. Probably spent close to 5 hours a day for a solid 3 months just trying to get trying to get our word out and trying to contact people that would be of use to us through financial sponsorship, through mentors, people who wanted to further our vision. Now, I think a similar theme that I've been stressing a lot here today is hard work. Now, why do I say this? Because a lot of you here today, everyone here today, in the future you guys want to be leaders, or you already are one. And in my view, being a leader isn't about just pointing your finger and saying, hey, you, do that. Is that inspiring? At least I don't think so. So my view on leadership is, if you sit down and you really start to work hard, And I don't mean, hey, I got this to-do list and I checked off the first thing, Game of Thrones, let's go, right? That's really not, sure, it's work, but hard work is really having something to do, and after you finish it, being like, well, I've done that, but what's next? What's next? What do I have to do next? And that's so important. So this idea of hard work, I've talked about what it entails, and it's also very inspiring to other people in the community. When you start to really work hard on something, other people start to see the work you've put in, and they become inspired by that. When you truly make great strides toward an initiative, towards a vision, other people start to notice. So obviously for Metro Hacks, we kept working and working, and the day of the event kept coming closer and closer and closer until finally it was there. Now, for us, we had never organized an event before, so actually seeing it come to life in front of us was an amazing experience. And for you all, you'll also see that when you start your own thing. When we actually got to the day of the event, the 200 people came, which was great, and we actually started to see something incredible. Even though that our event was segmented towards inclusivity, our participants, people who had never coded before in their life, were really creating amazing projects. So as I leave you here today, I just want to say, even if you think that you can't do something, or even if you think that you can't accomplish a vision, if you're able to work hard enough, and if you're able to convince other people of your central vision, it will come to life. Thank you.
Hello. Hey everybody, how are we doing? Good. We got like boosted up. It's been a long day. I hear you guys have been here since like 8, so whoa. I got here like an hour ago.
Test.
But, yeah.
Test. Okay.
Cool. So, hello. My name is Maya Matthews. I am a sophomore at Newton North High School. I am currently my grade's class president, and I am now a co-founder of Students in Service.
My name is Eric Zhang. I'm a junior at Newton North High School. Among the many things I do, I'm an FBLA chapter secretary and state councilman, for any of you who know what that organization is. And most importantly, I'm also co-founder of Students in Service.
Yeah, so today we're going to share with you how we created a club at our school, and hopefully you'll be able to take some of the things that we're sharing with you and you can apply into your own community. But you'll need a little background information before we get started.
So about a year ago, I met this little freshman with big ideas, and she told me about her idea to start a National Honor Society chapter at our high school. And it seemed awesome to have an organization that valued a great GPA and provided many amazing community service opportunities to its members. We thought this is exactly what our school needed. At least that's what we thought.
Yeah, and as perfect as that may have seemed, the GPA requirement actually was not really a part of like the inclusiveness that our school had. And we tested this out. We did a survey at our school, and we asked students how they actually felt about this GPA requirement. And 80% of the students said this would definitely turn them down. And this was a major step back for us, kind of took some steam out of our engine, and we kind of stopped talking about it for a while. But this would be one of the many walls that we would hit in our process.
And several months later, at the end of the school year, around late May, I started thinking about it again, and I was determined to bring a great club to the school that had many of the great features and values of National Honor Society without needing that external organization, therefore kind of overriding that exclusive GPA requirement. And 6 months later, we got our club approved, and here we are today with our very own Students in Service Community Service Club.
Yeah, and so through all those ups and downs, we learned a ton of different things, and we want to share with you 5 must-haves for when you're starting an organization with you here today. And conveniently, they all start with a P, so I'll share with you the first one. And first one is people. When you're putting together your group that will work on this organization, you need to make sure you have the right people. And while sometimes it's great to work by yourself, and when you're in groups, you have a wider perspectives that are all brought to the table. But what a lot of people end up doing is they want to work with their friends, right? You know, it'll be fun, but what you really need to look for is someone who has a complementary skill set to you. And what that means is someone who can bring something to the table that you can't necessarily bring. And in our case, we're actually really good friends, but we also have great complementary skill sets. So look for that first.
So you've got your great group of people together, but you need the other half of it. You need to find the fuel that powers your vehicle, your passion. You need to truly believe in what you're doing. Community service and opening new opportunities for others are at the cornerstone of Students in Service. And of course, we feel like these values are very important. It's made getting through hard times a lot easier. So find something you're passionate about. Therefore, this whole process is going to be a little more fun, and it's going to be easier for you.
And so then once you have the passion, you have that car, it's rolling, but you probably need a road to drive that car on, right? It'll kind of lead you in the right direction. And so that is going to be your plan. You always need to plan, whether that be, written down or on a blog, because there will be a situation where you'll kind of be put out on the spot, and if you don't have a plan and you haven't really, gone through and practiced, then you don't really know what's going to come out. And we actually ran into that. We had to talk to our administration, and we actually, thank goodness we had a plan, because we had a presentation ready and a speech ready, so always plan ahead.
Yeah, so you've got your plan, but now you need the other half of it, persuasion, getting others to understand and believe in what you're doing. As Maya mentioned, we work with administration a lot during this process. In fact, this year at our high school, we had a new principal, and we didn't know too much about him, his style per se. So we did some research on it and found that at his old school, there was NHS and similar community service clubs and organizations. That was great information for us to know. But secondly, you need to have a full grasp over what your club does, its functions, its values, everything about it. You need to be the most informed person on your club. If you can't understand it, how can you expect others to understand it? And lastly, know why you're the right person for the job. You can help you that by using logic and reasoning, and sometimes emotional connections help as well. And we've used all of these persuasive techniques when we convinced a teacher to become our club advisor.
And on that note of having a teacher, we actually had an incredibly hard time trying to find ourselves an advisor for this club, because countless times, one after another, we were told no. And this is when we had to persevere, and perseverance. And that comes in handy when you're told no so many times, and you really need to take a step back, look at the vision, look at their vision, and look at your vision, and see where the disconnect is. So once you do that, you go back to the drawing board, intertwine them, and then you realize, okay, now I've got a new plan. I'm going to go back. I'm going to persevere, and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to ask them again. And over time, eventually, you will get the results that you want.
And so at the end of the day, starting a club or organization is a lot easier than it seems. And you can actually use these 5 Ps to guide you along the road. So let's do a mini review.
So people.
Have a great team around you.
Passion.
Make sure you truly believe in what you're doing.
Plan.
Make sure you have a game plan. Don't just go into it head first.
Persuade.
Get others to understand and believe in what you're doing.
And perseverance.
Push through hard times. Do not give up.
So Students in Service is actually doing really well. Right now we're in the process of getting kids to join via social media and putting posters around the school. And we are looking forward to our next big community service event.
So thank you for your time, and we wish you the best with your next big project.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lexi Phipps. I'm 18 years old. I'm a senior at Hopkinton High School. Start of the marathon, Boston Hopkinton. Anyways, yeah. So start of the marathon. I'm a senior at Hopkinton High School, and I'm one of the co-founders of MOVE. This is my website. MOVE stands for Motivate, Overcome, Value, and Empower. So essentially what MOVE is an empowerment program for middle school and high school students, specifically girls. The way that MOVE runs is we give 2 to 3 hour long workshops at schools across Massachusetts on topics like self-confidence, mental health education, cultural awareness, positive body image, so on and so forth. And these workshops are sort of mini previews to the annual 5-day long summer program that we run. So the reason why I started MOVE was when I was 14 years old, I looked around and I got fed up because I noticed a problem and I noticed that nobody was doing anything about it. So raise your hand if there's ever a problem that you notice that nobody's doing anything about and it makes you really frustrated. Exactly. So this is where my first point comes in. And my first point is passion. And passion was one of the 3 kind of milestones that I had with my MOVE experience. So to me, when I looked around and I saw that nobody was doing anything about a problem that could have been easily fixed, I was 14, I didn't know anything about giving speeches, running workshops, running a business, or working with people. But that initial spark of passion and drive to kind of fix something that I thought was going to be easily fixable allowed me to sort of fill in those gaps. So I really urge you all to anyone that raised your hand about a problem that you saw, I urge you to find that passion, that problem, and be the one that fixes it. Don't just wait around for someone else to fix it. Next, failure happened. So failure is the second of the 3 milestones I had. So up to date, I've given over 40 workshops to girls as young as 5th grade to as old as 12th grade. I've given a few workshops to boys. I've worked with adults. I've basically worked with everybody. And I can tell you that I didn't get there by giving perfectly smooth workshops. There's been a lot of failures along the way, whether it be a big failure like a scheduling problem or a small failure like I put up a meme and nobody laughs at it. It happens a lot. It makes me really sad about myself. Really thought the memes were like funny, but some people don't vibe with them. Anyways, so that's my next key point is that you're gonna have failures of all different shapes and sizes. Like I said, small or big, but the point is having a growth mindset and not letting these things take a toll on you or your organization, because failures happen all the time. And I definitely wouldn't be at the point I was at if I hadn't had a bunch of them. Lastly, success happened. And like I mentioned, it took me a while to get there, but I think that now me and my co-founder are in a place where we're really pleased with the way our organization is running. One of my staff is actually here. Shout out to you. So we have a lot of amazing staff, and I'm super proud of that. And we're at a point where we're going to begin training younger girls and girls that have worked with us to run workshops for us, which is kind of sad. It's kind of like giving your baby to somebody else. It's like, here's my infant, like, catch. So I'm kind of doing that when I graduate this year. But to me, it's kind of, the idea of success is building something up from the ground, putting literally blood, sweat, and tears into it, and then giving it to somebody else, and passing it off and seeing it grow and take on a life of its own. And all of you today are here because you're leaders in your community. You are like the best of the best, and any success that you have, whether it be small or large, is contributing to the larger scale of making the world a better place. So everyone's journey to getting to success is definitely going to be different, and I can't really tell you exactly the steps of how it's going to go. But for me, as long as you guys keep in mind that the passion is the initial spark, and the failures are kind of the fuel that keeps you going, to kind of progress along the way, and eventually it will lead you to some form of success. And I want you to keep in mind that, again, no matter what your success is, success doesn't have an age limit, success doesn't have a race, success doesn't have a gender. I've had so many parents say, how can you do this? You're just a teenager. I've had boys be like, you're a girl, stop talking. I've had girls be like, you're a girl, stop talking. I basically had everyone tell me just stop, basically. And I bet, raise your hand if you've had people tell you to not do something. Yeah, exactly. So success doesn't have one set definition, doesn't have one set of bodies, one set of anything. And anyone can have success as long as you allow yourself to define what you want your success to be. So just to kind of wrap it all up, again, passion, growth mindset, and that will lead you, or you could say move you to success. Thank you. Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Justin Fenton, and I'm a junior at Kip Academy Lynn Collegiate. And my family is from the Caribbean. And no, we don't all say "Wagwan man." Stories and jokes mixed with hardships and struggles were the topic of conversation. And there, listening to my uncle's stories of being taken out of his home in hopes of not being forced to join a local gang, a want rose from inside of me. Who in the audience would hope to be a leader one day? Okay. Well, everyone who raised their hand, I have news for you. Just for being here today, you've shown how you're a leader. Instead of going to the mall with your friends or to the movies, you decided to hear from students about the different programs and ways they lead in the community so that you can take them and develop them and start your own mentoring or your own leadership in your community. Well, to start off, there's many different kinds of leaders. Well, displayed over here is Jane Addams, who was a leader in the women's suffrage movement by helping the discriminated and oppressed immigrants and women come together as a union. Oh, thank you. And over here is Martin Luther King Jr., who was an inspirational leader in the civil rights movement through his sermons and advocacy of nonviolent protests. During my freshman year of high school, A friend of mine mentioned my name as a candidate for the Global Embassy of Activists for Peace. And when I was asked if I wanted to join or to be a part of the program, a smile spread across my face. Because to think that someone who would actually choose me of all students in the school, it must have been a blessing. The Embassy is a nonprofit organization that strives to promote the peace, the rights, and the overall well-being of society as a whole, and of the occasionally neglected Mother Earth. I help coordinate blood drives, which happen at our school 2 to 3 times a year, which includes signing individuals up and making sure they eat the proper nutrients they need to be able to donate. Also, we participate in Holocaust forums, which inform fellow students in the Lynn community about how the Holocaust was the beginning of major genocide. And in our everyday life, we need to recognize that what we're saying and how it will affect people. Genocide starts from a few words, which turns into a few actions, which can turn into the cultural swiping of a whole nation. So, as you can see here, this is a picture of how the Jewish people were treated during the Holocaust. And over here is Saul Dreyer, who is a Holocaust survivor. And I actually saw him this past Thursday at one of our events. Many of you may know. And he shared his moving story about the treatment and the things he had to go through. And it really touched the students. And then there was my uncle, a man who took the place of my father, and although we didn't share blood, our Jamaican culture and our love for making people laugh connected us. He would later go on to be my real-life role model by being someone I could confide in, learn from, and inevitably grow from. To this day, he continues to remind me of what a handful I was and how every other week he would have to be called into the office. And in addition, he was the one who introduced me to the church I am in as of now, the Zion Baptist Church in Lynn, where I made sure I'm very active by singing on the choir, mentoring the younger children, and by recently applying to become youth president. But as you can see, being a leader doesn't necessarily mean you're taking over organizations or instantly making moves. A leader is someone who is active in the community, someone who people want to follow, and overall, someone who isn't afraid or too stuck up to speak to anyone and everyone and include people in the movement, to make this earth a better place and a place worth living. But I wasn't just dropped in the position I'm in. Earlier on, I mentioned how my recruitment in the embassy must have been a blessing, because it truly was, because at the time I was a class clown. And although I cared about my grades, I was socially deficient. And I kept being sent to the deans over and over again, and I just finally decided to change my behavior and create a change, and because things weren't working out for me. Change. That is the sole best thing about being able to see a new day and seeing tomorrow, is that you can become a new person, and it may not be easy, but the gradual movement is what propels you forward. Today I've spoken about who a leader is and isn't, how I've become a leader, and a few individuals who I look up to. But truly, what is a speech without true action? I feel like it's nothing. So after the event, if anyone's interested in getting further information about the embassy, I can give you information about our next up-and-coming meeting, which is this Tuesday. And if you get nothing from the speech I've just said, please just remember this quote. Great leaders don't set out to be a leader. They set out to make a difference. It's never about the role, but always about the goal. Thank you.
The allies, not so much the enemies, but definitely the reward. So this was when I found out that I had to make my own independent film. And I found it pretty daunting at first, because I was a new filmmaker. I didn't think I really knew what I was doing, and I was expected to do all of this stuff. I had to write my own characters, create my own story, and make sure that the video was all edited together and put together nicely. So some of the challenges along the way I faced in order to complete this project. One of them was learning how to use Final Cut Pro. And Final Cut Pro is a Mac software program. And that was particularly hard for me to master because I'm a PC user. And I think PC users can agree that whenever I use a Mac, my life kind of flashes before my eyes. So I had to deal with learning all the shortcuts and how to apply all the different effects to the video. But through perseverance, I eventually got to it. Another thing I had to overcome was my immense amount of creator's block, and also writer's block. And a lot of times I would just sit at my desk wondering how to proceed in the story I was writing. And I would really try to force a story out of me, but I soon realized that that really wasn't the way to go. So I just played around sometimes, and then when an idea struck me, I wrote that down and made sure to add it. So that's how I overcame my creator's block. I also learned a lot about time management, because with videos, you can't really BS it the day before like you do with an essay. It really shows when you've put a lot amount of time into your videos. So I had to make sure I made a realistic schedule, and I stuck to it. So that all culminated in my video, and I was able to present that at the end of my internship. And at the end, I came back to my school, ready to make more videos, and I found that there wasn't really much for me to do as an outlet at school. And so what I did was I joined the BLS Jubilee Project. And this is a club that is a conglomeration of loads of things. It's a community of activists, leaders, and filmmakers all rolled into one. And some of our goals include raising awareness about certain current issues. We cultivate the talents of aspiring filmmakers at BLS. And we also love to highlight the activism that goes around in our school. But most of all, we just want to make sure that our videos make the people who are watching them happy. And actually, we're pretty excited about our newest project, where we'll be working with our school's administration to make a promotional video that will be shown to specifically the underserved areas of the greater Boston area, to encourage those students to apply to exam schools like BLS. So my final advice for any aspiring filmmakers in the audience is to use whatever you have at your disposal and film. You can use a cell phone, your webcam, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you start filming and start practicing, because if you always let yourself be limited by the equipment you have, then you're probably not going to get anywhere. And also, editing is key. No matter the quality of video, a good editor can make it an amazing video. So really invest some time in mastering your programs and making sure you know the ins and outs. And also, collaborate with creators. You have tons of talent all around you. And videos are really a big recipe of graphic design, music production. And if you have any friends that are specialists in that, then you can make something pretty amazing. So I'm going to leave you guys with my independent film from that internship I talked about before, and I hope you enjoy it.
All right. Hi there, everybody. My name's Jack. I'm actually a little bit older than some of the other presenters here. I'm a month short of turning 21, and I'm in my third year at Northeastern University. Originally, I'm from Newton, Mass., where I attended Newton South High School, and I'm here today to talk about my internships in state government, a little bit about how to get involved in government and politics. So back in 2014, I was a freshman in college, and I had been really involved in student government in high school, and it was really exciting. I got to vote in my first election, and it seemed like an interesting and cool time just coming out of this election. So I found out that the governor's inauguration was open to the public, and I'd never been to an inauguration before, so I decided to stop by the State House with my dad, and I took this very blurry selfie with the incoming governor, Charlie Baker. After that, we went home. Just a few days afterwards, I noticed they put an internship posting on the mass.gov website. And I thought to myself, wow, this would be an amazing opportunity. But then part of me was like, oh, would I qualify for this? Like, I'm only a freshman in college. For the most part, they probably only take juniors and seniors. Is this something I can do? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. So I got recommendations. I got an application together, and I went straight to the State House and turned it in person. And over the next 8 months, I got to do numerous amount of things. I got to go to cool events. I got to help process one-day marriage designations, which is for folks who want to officiate a wedding. I got to help vet candidates for different positions. Actually got to use cool machines where you could actually, of course, the governor can't sign everything, so for things he's approved, got to use cool machines to sign things on his behalf. I also got to attend a lot of different things like the governor's first press conference after he signed his budget and actually the Ice Bucket Challenge. And while I was there, I actually had the opportunity to work part-time as well at the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, where I had the opportunity to put together newsletters and witness some legislative work. And this was a time where the MBTA was trying to reform itself because if you remember, 2015 was a horrible winter and everything got shut down in Boston. So I do want to tell a few takeaways. My first would be, don't sell yourself short. If I had just kind of sat around and thought, oh, they would never take a freshman, I would never have applied. And never think that you're not good enough for a position. Always, even if I hadn't gotten the job, taking the opportunity is important. Second, never see any work as beneath you. When you're working in government, at times things are going to feel pretty menial, but at the end of the day, you're part of a team. And when you're working on behalf of constituents and citizens, monotonous things in the end are really important. For example, I was there, I processed 4,000 one-day marriage designation applications with a series of other interns. And at the time, it felt really menial to be processing all these apps. But at the end of the day now, as a result, another 8,000 people are married in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, all for us processing these papers. And the last thing I would say is find a mentor. I know that maybe sounds easier than it seems, but in politics, especially, people want people on their team. They want to find people who are passionate, and they want to see people succeed. And frequently they see themselves and other people. Internships is how a lot of people get involved in government. So they may see you in them. They may see them in you. So finally, I guess I'll just go quickly through the pictures that I have from my time there. Sorry, where did the clicker go? Actually, sorry. Great. So this was me at the Ice Bucket Challenge. Here, that's me here. This is Secretary of Transportation, Stephanie Pollock, and this is our Deputy Chief of Staff. This was another intern, and that was a great day. We were on the State House steps, and something like 500 people poured water over their heads, and we challenged the mayor of Boston to respond, and the entire steps all flooded with water, and it was such an amazing experience. Here was me with, I'm over here, and the governor's over here, and this was a photo taken of all the interns over the summer, and the governor signed a little note for me on my last day before I left. And the last photo I have here is this was the people in my office, and this is the photo we took right before I headed out the door. So anyways, thank you for listening, and I hope you get involved in politics. I think we are living through interesting times, and we need people who are willing to devote themselves to each other and to the citizens you live with. So thank you.
Hi, everybody. Okay, are you on? Okay. Oh, okay, you're on. Yay, wonderful. Okay, so to give you guys a little bit of information on who I am, I am from Lynn, Massachusetts. My name is Travis Davis, and I am currently a senior at Lynn English High School. With that said, I am partake in my school's GSA, my school's Latin club, the drama club, and also the Lynn music program at my school. One thing I would say is, how many of you have felt as if your voice was shadowed? Here's something you can do to change that. Follow your mentors. Find the people who will encourage you. Because like I say to all of my friends, leaders don't discourage, they encourage. And I would say that to all of you. Never feel as if your voice is shadowed. Every one of you has a voice. That's why you're here. Everyone is a leader. By presenting yourself in this space, you are showing that you want to make a difference. That is aspect number 1 of a leader. Aspect number 2, self-awareness, knowing the type of people you're going to be around. I prepared myself to speak with future leaders, and that's why I'm here expressing my role as leadership. Also, having that social status, that likability about yourself, having this sense of, oh, I'm confrontable, aren't I? And I hope. I don't mean to be all abrupt. And that sense of likability and passion that you, as a human, embody is a great sense of leadership. Now, I don't know why I forgot to say this, but every day before I leave my house, I say this phrase, I love myself the way I am. And I say that 3 times as a reassurance that any day, every day that I am blessed to wake up in the morning is going to be a productive day, no matter what happens. We all go through failures. I have gone through many failures in my life, whether it was through academics or just not having my voice and not expressing to those how I feel. As one thing, an aspect of a leader, third and finally, it's never giving up. I was the quiet freshman who always sat in the background, didn't really speak, but I always had passions. I always said I am passionate about music. And that's why I am able to play 7 different instruments. Because I took the time out of my day and said, hey, though others would say jack of all trades, master of none, I say, well, who cares? I want to be jack of all trades. Let me be. And that's why I'm here to say to you, never give up on your dreams and aspirations in life. Never let that go. And always remember, Rome was not built in a day, and your success won't either. Thank you.
So hi everyone, can you hear me? No? It's on? Okay. So hi everyone, my name is Eleanor Simone, I'm 18, and I'm a senior at Bishop Fenwick High School in Peabody, Massachusetts, obviously. So I'm here to talk about Happy Healthy Humanity, and what that is, it's a local student-run nonprofit organization that works to better lives of children residing long-term in local hospitals. And how we do that is we kind of just assess each hospital's needs, and we donate different forms of entertainment like board games, arts and crafts, and handmade cards, just to help make, kids who are in the inpatient ward for a while, just to make their lives a little better. So how this kind of works is we contact different local hospitals via email, via phone, and we try to get in contact with their child life specialists. And with that, we then come up with what they need to better the lives of the children staying there. So some cases it's board games, others it's books. And so we go out and buy all the stuff. We collect the cards made from usually different organizations or schools. And then we set up a donation date and we go and donate it. So just the faces behind that is, as you can see on the left, that's me. Again, I'm Eleanor. And then my partner, Chris Puglisi, he's a freshman at the University of Virginia. I strongly suggest that no matter what your idea is, whether it's to make a nonprofit, to start a business, whatever it is, definitely get someone else involved. I think another group mentioned that as well. It's important to have at least one other person because they can really help you. Like, they'll come up with things that you didn't even think of, and it's going to make your project that much better. So the inspiration behind Happy Healthy Humanity. So one day, it was 2 summers ago actually, and one of my best friends had been absent from, soccer workouts during the summer. No one really heard from her much. So we hung out one day, and suddenly she developed this love of makeup. You could see, she wore a thick eyeliner. She talked about it nonstop. So one day I asked her, I was like, so where'd your love of makeup come from? How'd you become so good at it? And to my surprise, she was like, oh, well, when I was in the mental hospital for an extended period of time, there's absolutely nothing to do except drawing on herself, so using makeup, or drawing on paper. And that hit me really hard, because she was one of my best friends. I thought I knew almost everything there was to know about her, and it just didn't sit right with me what she told me, because I was expecting a fun answer. Oh, I watch YouTube videos, but no, it's a sad reality that people have to face. And it didn't sit right with me. I was like, okay, people who are in the hospital have life hard enough. So if I can do something to help them, then why wouldn't I? So, I thought about the idea for a while, but I was like, I'm 16, I can't really do anything. And then these are just pictures from the first hospital we helped, which is Mass General in Salem. And this is the inpatient ward, as we help the inpatient and emergency ward there. And you can just see how depressing it is. If you're living there, day after day for weeks, months, and in some cases even years, that's going to get depressing and, sad. So once I had the idea, again, it just stuck with me for a while. So I investigated the topic a little bit, and I talked to other friends who also had been in the hospital for an extended period of time. This other friend that I asked wholeheartedly agreed with what I had to say. She's like, that's an awesome idea. I really think you should do it. Because from her experience, having nothing to do with the boredom made her treatment that much worse. It made her mental state worse. It just made her overall unhappy, and she never wanted to go get help for her illness. And again, children spend weeks, months, and in some cases even years in hospitals. So we just want to help make their experience a little bit better. And again, this is from the first hospital we helped. And as you can see, they kind of have a playroom, a lot of old, baby toys. So what if you're out of that age range? And then if you see in the back, there are those color buckets. Well, this is a picture of one labeled paint. I mean, this isn't really adequate for paint. You're like, oh, I love to paint. Not much to do in there. And then this is just the emergency ward, and they try to make it fun, but again, if you're in the emergency ward, it's stressful. So why not donate entertainment to help make the experience a little less stressful, a little less scary? And again, these are just pictures from our first donations, again at Mass General for children in Salem, and they wanted, a bunch of baby toys, board games, arts and crafts supplies. And then again, that's a thank you letter. And then we actually just had our second donation a week or two ago at the Boston Children's Neurology Ward waiting room, just because I've had an experience there, because I have a concussion. I actually had it for a while. And there's just some kids there. There's a little tiny baby who had a bandage wrapped around his head. There's another boy who couldn't speak, climbing around tables. And while I'm fortunate enough that I'm probably not going to have to go back there, you can tell that those 2 kids and many others are there weekly, monthly, more than once a year. And then just a few other accomplishments. On the left, we have our website, recently redone. You guys should check that out. We were in a local newspaper, and then the Catholic Schools Foundation heard about what we were doing and reached out to us, so we'll be in the newsletter. So actually, how this all became a reality, I was in those same exact seats you were all in, except last year. So they had it in October last year, so I'm 18 now. I turned 18 2 weeks ago, but I was 16 when I was sitting in all of your seats. Again, I still had the idea in my head, and I left the conference, and I was like, well, I'm 16 now, I can't do anything. But I left the conference feeling inspired, and I met a lot of great kids, as I'm sure all you have today, and some kids were like, I'm going to check up on you, it's a great idea, you better do this, if you don't, I'm going to be mad. So I was like, okay, I promise, I'll get it done. And again, I talked a little bit about my concussion. I've had it for 2 years, finally getting better. But so I tried to make this a reality by myself. Leaving the conference, I was like, okay, I want to do this. It's going to happen. And I couldn't get it started. It was junior year. I was really sick. It couldn't happen. So I actually applied to become a project, which all of you were able to as well. And it was pretty easy. I got a partner, Chris, and we filmed and we sent Eric a lot of emails back and forth, and we, talked about what we were doing. So we basically filmed a video. They put it on their website, which is kind of like Indiegogo and GoFundMe, and all the fundraising happened on their website. At the end of the month, which is how long we fundraised for, we met our goal by 130%. So basically, as I talked about, I was at the conference last year, and one speaker in particular named Sean Blonda, he writes for 99U, it's a magazine. a lot of his quotes really hit home, and to me, they were very influential. So the first one is, don't let the fear of something stop you from trying. Don't care what other people think. Don't think, oh, I can't do that. Never let it stop you, because like, I've had so much support from this. It's been amazing. Like, I'll call hospitals and I'm just trying to get in contact with a child life specialist, and they're like, yeah, I think that's a great idea. Like, we really could use that. And then again, don't let failures discourage you from, like, try again. Honestly, try again. Most people, as he said, Rome isn't built in one day, and like, most people can't get anything done on their first try. So try again. If it takes you 3 tries, that's fine. But if you keep trying, you should use the failure to motivate you to get it and do it even better the next time. And then the next two kind of go together. Don't make up excuses. You are not too young or too old, and make it a priority. Again, Sean Blonda said those, and I strongly, strongly agree. Again, I was like, I'm 16, I can't do anything. Well, me and a partner who was 18 at the time, I was 17, we launched this together with some help. And so you're never too young, and they also have other projects who are in like elementary schools who have launched different things at their school. So you're not too young or too old. And again, make it a priority, because you're going to keep saying, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. Well, if you have the chance to go to bed at 11 p.m., I'd say go to bed at 12, because you can get a lot done within that 1 hour and be surprised and make a difference. And then again, this is another great one, especially in today's world. On social media, you see the highlights of one's life, not the hardships. And this is so true. You may see someone succeeding, you're like, oh, they didn't even try to do that, and here I am trying. I failed 3 times to try and do this, and it still hasn't happened. Well, you don't see everything in their life. Maybe they failed 5 times, and they tried that 6th time, they got up, and it was successful. So don't let social media discourage you from doing what you want to do. And then lastly, final thoughts. If you can't really take anything else away from our presentation today, just please remember that you're never too young to make a difference. And if something bothers you, make a change, because you do have the power, especially being here, you have the leg up. And then if you're interested to learn more about what I talked about, you can check out our website or follow us on Instagram. And just thank you for your time.